this this documentary by the Discovery Channel about DeSoto and his journeys to the Americas. Ready?
By the time De Soto set foot in Florida, he was a wealthy, seasoned veteran of Spanish ventures in the New World.
De Soto himself had come to the New World when he was about 14. Was a big success in terms of the day as a conquistador. He participated in the pillaging of Native American societies in Central America. He was involved.
So his credentials are pretty strong. I mean, you heard him. They said he was a big success. In destroying the lives of the native people and conquering them, enslaving them. Apparently, I mean, that was something really to be proud of. Can we all give him a round of applause? You did such a great job destroying the native people. Wow, way to go, gold star.
With the Pizarro brothers and the sacking of the Inca Empire.
We should check out the Pizarro brothers. That was something when I first watched this. I thought I should look into. I'll have to do a later video on the Pizarro brothers and the sacking of the Inca Empire. That would be something to look into. I don't think anybody's talking about that right now.
He became quite wealthy.
But wealth alone could not satisfy De Soto's burning ambition. To leave his mark on history, he would gamble his fortune on one more throw of the dice. His own expedition in search of El Dorado.
When they came to the New World, none of the conquistadors came with the...
Yeah, you hear that? The wealth wasn't good enough. He wanted to discover El Dorado, that city of gold, right? Right? Doesn't it remind you of like Dragon's Lust for gold? How that drives you mad? What is it about gold? I mean, I personally don't own anything that I know of that's made of gold, and I have no desire to. But I see some of our brothers, decked out in all their gold, and it's like, I don't know, nothing about it. I don't know what's about it. What's going on with that? What goes on spiritually with gold?
Intention of staying. They wanted to come over here. They wanted to find El Dorado. They wanted to find the gold of the Incas, and if they didn't find that, they would go back without any kind of entitlement, any kind of status.
And that was something else I also wondered, was El Dorado code for Jerusalem? That's something I've always wondered, since, not always, but ever since we've discovered, that all of that was over here. You wonder if that was Jerusalem. But at the same time, I also think about how, Columbus's mission was to sack Jerusalem and all that. So, yeah, that's just an interesting study, to be honest.
But they knew that, again, their backs were against the wall to make a name for themselves in the New World. And people have done it before, and there was no reason to think that they couldn't do it too.
You hear that? Their back was against the wall to make sure they left the mark in destroying the natives of this land. Who can do the most damage? Who can be the most famous for finally conquering the unconquerable people? That's really what he's saying. Look at that brother right there bent over. Oh, yeah. Wow.
Having plundered the great wealth of the Inca Empire, the Spanish turned their eyes northward. From there came rumors of gold, silver, and gems beyond the imaginings even of the greatest Inca monarch.
What? What? Why is that so unheard of? Think about that, way. Right? We always hear about Mexico, right? Mexico having all these gold palaces and stuff like that, and that's where the Aztec gold, and all that. When do you hear about North America being loaded with more gold than was in Mexico? Huh? It goes back to my last video I just did, right? They talk about all that gold that the Queen Elizabeth and all of them are sitting on, comes from Africa. Yeah, right. I'm almost willing to, I won't say beg. I'm almost willing to dig through anything I can to find it, to prove that gold right there, outside of America being, still a British colony. I'm gonna still. There's got to be more evidence to prove that they took more gold from here, and took it back to England, You know, there is, because I just don't believe it. I believe when you hear that, and that was what they were looking for when they heard these stories. They went to Mexico, South America, and ransacked it, and then they heard, oh wait, there's more gold up in North America and in Canada. You know, they were like, well, let's hightail it up there. There's more gold there than there is here. Okay, all right.
In fact, a few precious trinkets had been taken from the natives of the North. But in one of the great ironies of history,
Where do you ever hear about that, huh? When do you hear about the gold being taken from the natives from North America, all right, to prove that there was gold here? You know, that's interesting, right?
the conquistadors would never learn of the true source of that wealth, their own shipwrecked galleons.
Late 1530s, wealth was going back on Spanish fleets. Many of those fleets set sail from the coast of Mexico, came around the Gulf, went down the Gulf Coast of Florida and through the Strait of Florida and up. Some of them wrecked.
Do you get that? Do you get that? It would have started in Mexico, went along Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, down Florida, back up, all right, and back up along the coast of North Carolina, Jersey, all right, to cross over to Spain. They would not have gone directly across like they keep trying to show you with the transatlantic slave trades, where they come down from Spain to Morocco and to the Mali and area, you know, and Sierra Leone, and then they cross right over. They couldn't cross there. Listen to him. He said they would have started in Mexico, stayed along the coast, went around Florida, and all that. I mean, man, how do you still promote this lie that you could just travel right across the Atlantic Ocean when they took the safe route out, close to the shorelines?
Summer storms.
And wait a minute, if they were still doing that, if that's the way they were leaving Mexico, why in the world did they not discover America to begin with then? North America to begin with? Why were they already invading this place if they were going along the Gulf there? See, stuff's just not adding up when you actually sit back and listen to what they're actually saying, you know?
Hurricanes. And the Florida native people salvaged material off there, gold, silver, and in Florida archaeological sites and native sites, we do find gold and silver that came right out of Central and South America.
See, no. I want to see where they have the. Oh my! I want the proof of that. I want the proof of that. I really do, because, all right, because I'm almost convinced, from what I'm reading, when I read about these natives, that the remnant of the Mayas, the Mayan people, were in the Americas, and they were in Georgia, Florida, South Carolina. That is just what I'm gathering the more I read. So they would have had that gold. They would have had gold like that. If a ship is wrecked, all right, and you weren't there to witness the wrecking, how are you going to find that gold out there in the middle of the ocean or off the Gulf Coast? How are you going to find it out there? If it's not washing ashore, how are you going to find it? Now, how are you going to dig to this or dive to the bottom without any way of providing oxygen and fish that out of there? Think about that.
Spectacularly oblivious to history's strange twist of fate, De Soto's proud conquistadors arrived in the New World in the spring of 1539, probably at Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay, where they always tell you that, that was the export they were taking, the import, I'm sorry. They brought slaves from Haiti to Tampa and dropped them off there. No, what they did was they found the Calusa Indians and other ones there, and along this region, up in here and all the way down to Fort Myers, and they were taking them out of there. All right, they'll tell you in other documentaries they came to North America specifically to get them some slaves. That's what they were looking for, to gather up some slaves. Look at this map too. Isn't that map something like a mound or some type of huts there? You know, like people are already there. It looks like they already got mapped out. People were there, and it looks like a pyramid there, and that's like Tennessee, right? Looks like a pyramid. That's in the Tennessee stretch. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't catch it the first time.
100 strong, they set off with haste in search of their fortunes. When they stopped to ask directions, as it were, they were in no mood to be trifled with.
Every time De Soto came to a new place, he would interrogate his captives, and the two main questions.
Now I got a question. All right? How is it that they could speak to the natives and the natives could understand them? If the natives are speaking a language that they did not understand and they're new to this continent, how is it they always were able to speak to the natives and the natives could understand what they were saying? Think about this, all right? The only other language I speak fluent is Spanish, right? And if I go to Japan and I'm talking to someone from Japan, I'm not going to understand a word they say. It's my first time on the island of Japan. There's no way I'm going to be able to interpret what he's saying. Okay? Even with all the hand gestures and the pointing, I'm going to tell him, hey, I want toilet paper. He's not going to understand what I'm saying. I'm going to have to go take him go grab some toilet paper and show him I want toilet paper. And then I'm going to have to, when I'm asking other questions like a toothbrush, he ain't going to understand it. You know what I'm saying? There's no way I'm going to be able to conversate with him and we're going to be understanding. I'll be just doing a whole bunch of pointing. I'm just saying. Every time you hear that he interrogate, that's intense. I mean, come on, we've seen the interrogations, in 48 hours where you sit down and you're grilling these people. You got to be able to speak their language. So how are they speaking the language of people that they never even met before? Who are their interpreters? Why aren't we ever given the names of the interpreters? Come on, there's a lot of holes in these stories.
Questions where is the greatest prince in the land? Where can I find the greatest, biggest, wealthiest society? And he also specifically asked Indians about.
No, wait. How do you communicate that to them? I mean, we're not even talking about small stuff like gold, corn. Showing them, hey, where's your gold? Where's your corn? Now, how are you saying, hey, where's your chief? Where's your prince? You hear that? He said, where's your prince? Where's the leader? Where's the biggest society? How do you communicate to that? How do you even put that into sign language? Huh? How do you get that across to them? That's what I'm looking for. I ain't looking for something petty. I'm looking for the biggest and the best you got. How is he communicating to them? If they've never met these people before, if these people don't understand a word he's saying, all right, or if he's just got interpreters speaking to them, where do they find the interpreters that can speak to them and also speak his language? Spanish, right? Ask these questions.
Such as gold and silver. The Spanish would show the Indians the jewelry on their fingers and on their bodies and would ask the Indians, where can I find this? Where can I find that? The Indians may have been tempted to mislead him, and in some cases we know that they did, but for the most part, I suspect they told him what he wished to know because his means of extracting it were so great and the possibility of torture was so obviously present.
No, that's a poor painting of an Indian. I mean, come on, look at this dude. They look Caucasians. Come on. They look like drawings of cave people, right? Wouldn't this be something if we actually found out this was something that happened in Europe? Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
In keeping with his charter from the king, De Soto read a lengthy statement to each group of natives he encountered.
Now, how are you going to read this to each native you encounter? Here, I'm going to stand up here. I'm going to hold out this scroll. I'm going to read this out loud. All of y'all are supposed to understand this when all I have is an interpreter to speak to some of y'all. I mean, maybe my mind's overthinking this, but it's just like, it's a joke. It's a freaking joke. It really is. It really, truly is.
They and all their lands now belong to the Spanish crown, he informed them.
And it still belongs to the Spanish crown, through the head of actually the Spanish crown, which is Catholicism.
They were to pledge their allegiance to Spain and accept the Catholic faith. Should they refuse, it came with this warning. With the aid of God, we will enter your land against you with force and will make war in...
The aid of God. Which God? And you got to ask yourself, too, are these the people from the north that we read about in the book of Lamentations? I wonder if they were the ones that were sent against us from the book of Lamentations.
Every place and by every means we can and are able. We will take you and your wives and children and make them slaves, and we will take you...
We will take you, your wife, your children, and make you slaves if you do not accept our God, right? Where have we heard that before? No, seriously, where have we heard that before? If you don't accept my God, you're gonna be enslaved. You're gonna die. I mean, it's the start of it, right? It's the start of Deuteronomy, 28? Leviticus 26?
Your property and will do you all the harm and evil we can.
Listen to that. Listen to that. We'll take all your property. You're already now servants to us. And all your property. Doesn't that sound like what happened to the so-called African American? Seriously. Isn't that what happened to us? Huh? That's just the beginning. I think there's the start of it. They started capturing us.
His so-called legal grounds for waging war established, Hernando de Soto set about the business of destruction and enslavement with a clear conscience.
So he came to North America. His claims was he was looking for gold. That looks like a white dude to me, not an Indian. But anyways, came to North America looking for gold, right? And his true purpose was to just take the land away from the natives. That's all it was to take it from the natives and enslave them. So they could have their empire over here. You heard it yourselves. The men were going to be enslaved. The women and children would be enslaved. They were going to lose all their property. Either way, they were going to lose it because they were going to accept Catholicism, right? And accept his God, Inquisition. Isn't what Lex was always yelling? Inquisition, right?
Though they came to the New World ostensibly for gold, God, and glory, the Spaniards...
Gold, God, and glory. What God were they looking for? They came here for God? What God were they looking for? Why don't you ever hear about that either? Huh? We came to North America looking for God. No, they said they came here looking for gold. They weren't looking for God. Period. End of story.
also quite clearly came in search of slaves.
They came looking for slaves. Now look at this. Don't you love how this picture changes? All those other pictures they show keep showing European-looking people. Why? Now all of a sudden the natives are dark. Oh man, they keep slipping it to us. They came here looking for slaves. Well, if you needed slaves, why didn't you just go to Africa, right? Huh? Why waste your time going to North America looking for Indians, huh? Well, why didn't you just go to Africa, gather yourself some slaves and come over here? You'll be fine. You already were sailing around Africa and Portuguese, Africa and Madagascar and India. You were already hitting that all up first. Why didn't you just go ahead and start bringing them over here right away, huh? Huh? Why'd you go to North America looking for slaves? Because that's where all the slaves that you claim were African Americans are from. That's where they were at.
They brought leg irons and collars and...
Wait, what did he say? Leg irons, right? Collards, right? No, every time we watch those videos where they keep showing you were taken out of Africa, what are you already put, chained in? Leg irons and collars. All right? They took that stuff when the Spaniards when they came to North America, when they came to the Americas, they brought that stuff here. They put that on you here. Those images they keep trying to slap on you and say, oh, it was over in North America. No, it was here. When you see those Moors or those Arabs-looking people, you're marching with us with their guns drawn at us and stuff like that, that happened here. The Treaty of Morocco, right? I'm sorry, the Treaty of Tripoli. I got it confused. The Treaty of Tripolis. Why was it signed here? Why were the Moors here already signing off land here to the people that conquered us? Think about that.
Pains to enslave the Indians. Probably
they brought that all here to enslave the Indians. Now show me something. Show me images of the so-called North American Indian wearing chains around his neck, right, and shackles on his legs. I can show you tons of pictures of the so-called African American wearing that stuff while he's enslaved in North America.
For most of the expedition, they probably had as many Indian slaves as they had members of the expedition. So at times, the expeditions they had as many people as 800, 900 people, including all the Indian slaves that were accompanying them.
One tactic used by De Soto was to capture the chiefs chiefs were not only economically and politically important, they were also the focus of their people's religion.
Look at that nose right there. Do you see that? Bam! Right there. Look at that brother's hair. Look at that. Come out of there. I don't know, man. Right there. Do you see that?
It's like,
It was devastating to the local populations when the Spaniards captured the chiefs because it just paralyzed everyone. The population was brought to its knees almost immediately. And the reason for this is because the chiefs were the ideological centers of the universe. It was their cosmological point of contact with the other world. And why is this important? It's important because the chiefs
All right.